Donate button. Okay, welcome to the Aftershow. We're here with Jacque Hollander. Jacque, you want to take a little break or you want to...
No, I'm fine. I'll start answering questions.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll take calls. And now, what about...
If there are any.
Yeah, well, no, we got some usual guys who call in every week, so...
Okay.
And ask great questions. So hopefully we will get some questions. Otherwise, I got questions for you. Forget it. My God. Now, James Brown's son, he's on your side.
Yes. Came to be, that really was real strange because he was against me. And I met him for the first time last November. And he's actually on a book tour right now. He did a book after spending from November to March, sitting down with me, looking at all the evidence, and he fired his lawyers and he separated from the daughters and now is on our side.
So he actually did a book based on your information?
A lot of it, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so now...
Am I too lazy to do a book? Yes.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I know how you feel. I got a bunch of books in me. It's hard to get them out, yeah. Now, was there any other sons? Yeah. How many sons and daughters are there?
He's got quite a few. It's which ones are which. The judge, there was supposed to be DNA on everybody, but the judge which said it was going to happen, it's 9 years later, and it hasn't happened. The judge just, whatever day he wakes up and decides what he wants to do, he does it.
Right. And so none of the kids are getting any money either.
They got, they're making all kinds of deals from behind the thing. The son isn't. He went out on, his book tour. Bless his heart. He has really, really struggled. Of all of them, I feel, the utmost sympathy for him. And, the trust was supposed to have paid for the college education. There was a separate trust set aside for the education of the grandchildren, and none of them have received any money. None of their grandkids have gotten their chance to go to college. So that is disgusting.
And the only ones who really got money are the two daughters who started off the litigation and had the mysterious death of the husband.
Yes, and the father, James Brown.
What father is that?
The death of James Brown is, James Brown was murdered.
Oh,
so,
right, okay, gotcha. Right.
Yeah, so you have to look up at all the people that, the things that have happened mysteriously through these years, the accidents and things while we've all been in court.
Well, who else? What other kind of accidents and stuff were there?
Well,
Buddy got run over by a truck.
Yeah, and almost died, and there's just been some children where people walked up to the door and they were a child was blown away. There's been it's been very serious and very sad.
Okay, well, the other child that was shot, was there any investigation on that? Like maybe it was like drug related or something else, or you think it was related to this?
I heard someone tried to say it was because someone tried to rob him for a joint. I don't know anybody that robs anybody for a joint.
Now, you were saying that James Brown hated Mick Jagger.
Yes, he did.
But somehow Mick Jagger wound up producing this film.
Yes.
Did they have any kind of personal beef with each other besides James Brown thinking he was a devil worshiper?
No, he called him the son of the devil, but what was very interesting, he would never let his music be played. And on Good Day America, Mick Jagger sat down with, I think it was Matt Lauer. Please don't quote me on that. It was one of them on, the Today Show. And they were interviewing him about this movie. This was in March of this year. And they asked him, was he close to James Brown? And he said no, that he had met him once. And that Mr. Brown was very rude to him, that he had tried to shake his hand, and James Brown wouldn't shake his hand and turned around and walked off. And then, of course, at the premiere the other night with Reverend Al Sharpton, they asked Mick Jagger again, was he friends? And he said, Oh, he was always wonderful to me, always courteous to me. We never had a problem. We were very good friends, and we never had a problem. And I'm sitting there going, which is it, Mr. Jagger? You start in March, and he wouldn't even shake your hand, and now at the premiere, y'all are good buddies. So, I mean, come on. You've got to sell his movie. There's been nothing but commercials pushing this movie 24 hours, night and day.
Yeah, there's huge promotion for this movie. Now, but has Mick Jagger produced any other movies?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of either.
And I'm pretty sure there was probably someone else doing it. But I don't know. Looking at it last night, there is a very good possibility he did produce it because it was horrible. So I got to say, maybe he did do it.
Who was the director on the movie?
Tate Taylor.
Okay, I never heard of him. Okay.
He did the movie Help and all these great movies.
Help with the Beatles?
He did some really... No, I may be wrong on it, but he's done like #1 movies. I mean, Oscars. You know, I mean, these guys they came in with the best. Even had Opie, Ron Howard, and this is another thing. I've always loved Opie.
Yeah.
Always loved him. And I'm sitting there thinking, Buddy Dallas and I were sitting there talking before this movie came out, and here they do this movie on James Brown, but they don't come to anyone. They didn't even go to Daryl, his son. They just left everybody out except they didn't even talk to Buddy Dallas, his lawyer of 28 years. They even cut him totally out of the movie. We're not even mentioned in the movie. It's like we didn't even exist. I mean, this is the most insane thing you've ever seen. Really. I mean, how do you do a movie when you don't talk to anybody who was there, and you pay Tommy Ray, the woman who claimed to be his wife at the very end, who really wasn't his wife, you pay her to be on, and she wasn't even in there in the 80s and all these years. What does she know? You don't even talk to his son. You don't talk to his lawyer of 28 years. You don't talk to his victim, but you do portray him in one scene, and that's in the beginning. You show a joint laying on a table where he's lacing something. And then you show him at the very end high, and you show him out of his head, but you don't explain it. It flips back and forth so much, and you just can't even follow it.
Did they show the incident?
Jagger probably did.
Where he pulled did they show the incident with the shotgun and the multi-state police chase and all that stuff?
They showed a second of it, but it didn't make a lot of sense because they don't explain it. It's not even explained. It's just like to me they were trying to copy the Ray Charles movie.
Okay.
They had the little boy, and they keep showing him, and if I didn't know better, I'd think it was the same little boy. Only I know that boy's probably grown up. But they're showing this little boy, and they're flipping from the little boy to these events, and then they're flipping back, and then they're flipping, and they've got Dan Aykroyd in all the scenes, and, it's just really, I got to say this about the young man, though, that played James Brown, and I know that kid probably gave 100% to portraying him.
Right.
But he just didn't look like James Brown, and he didn't. He admits to the world that he didn't want to do it. He admits to the world that he felt like he couldn't do it. And I will admit to, in fairness to Mr. Bronson, that it would take years to learn his dancing. It would take years to learn his mannerisms. It would be an enormous undertaking for any actor to try to portray James Brown. And so I will say the movie may not have been there, and he may not have they may not have portrayed the truth, but Chadwick Bronson portrayed, I will say, that kid went in there. He was basically too young to play him, and he wasn't as heavy as him, but he gave it his all, and you could see that.
Yeah, but it doesn't even look like they got the hairdo right.
They didn't. None of the hair.
Yeah, but wait a second.
Wings.
But how are you going to copy that hair? Only two guys in the whole world could ever pull that hair off, and that was Al Sharpton and James Brown. You know.
Well, and Al Sharpton was a paid person on this movie.
Oh, really?
And oh yeah, and you're sitting there saying, how could they not do the hair right?
Well, was Al Sharpton portrayed in the movie?
No, he was not.
No, just the briefcase sitting there once in a while, right?
Which is, I'm sitting there thinking a rather peculiar thing, because he's done so many books and all this other stuff, and about it, but yet he wasn't in it. And I don't think he wanted to be, because that really opens the can of worms.
Yeah.
You see, he doesn't want this worms. He doesn't want anyone to touch those years, because if they do, and of course me and other people, the worms are going to come out, and worms can always get you.
You know, I'm surprised
they can always come out.
I'm surprised more people didn't come out about his whole thing about being a rat and wiretapping people, because they got all the police reports, and some of it even led to criminal cases. So there's no doubt about that. And I'm surprised more people didn't come out and talk about that. I came out and talked about it, because I'm sure I'm on those tapes as well.
I'm sure you are, and I'm sure James Brown, and I look at all the arrest of him, and I look at the when he had to go to New York because of Mr. Sharpton, and he, I look at all the stuff that was going on, and then you look at the Tawana Brawley case, and that is a real horrible thing where Mr. Sharpton knew full well that Stephen Pagonis didn't know it, and Mr. Sharpton had fully, James Brown knew that the Reverend had fabricated it to try to build his civil rights movement.
Well, let me ask you a question. Then, did you ever talk to Stephen Pagonis about the situation where he was in that bedroom with the guy, and the guy shot himself later on, or while he was in the room?
It was. I don't talk to Stephen about that. That was his best friend.
Okay.
But Stephen Pagonis has suffered. He has suffered beyond words. And so have I. And I think it's time that Reverend Sharpton and Tawana come up and, he won a huge judgment against them all, Reverend Sharpton. I think it was Johnny Cochran that paid off Sharpton's part. And
right.
He won something against Tawana Brawley. And, of course, she's been running and living under assumed names. And they finally got her into court, and she was forced to pay a little bit of money up front, not anything of the massive amount of money that she owes, and she was supposed to, I think, pay $400 a month, and of course she's on the run again.
Yeah, there was some interesting stuff with her too, because I know that she was under a lot of government harassment there for a while. Like even they would stop her at the airport, and all kind of weird things were going on with her as well. So. You don't think there was something more that went on with that whole case other than just a kid making up a story? Stephen Pagonis has made the offer to Tawana Brawley to please come forward and sit down with him and to please, there's a lot of stuff with the whole mess. And, of course, you've got Reverend Al Sharpton at that time as an FBI informant. Right. Clearly, here he is working for the government, and here's all of this stuff going on, and that was happening to me, that was happening to them up there. I mean, it was like the North and the South caught between, I felt like I was caught, and I always have, between the North and the South. I really do. If I ever had a book, I think that would be the title of it. Well, how did you become friends with Pagonis?
Well, I had known him, and